Okay, and then let's look at the richest income decile. In other words, decile 1 equals 10. And then looking at these individuals, more than half of them belong to the richest non-income welfare decile. So it seems there is some kind of positive relationship. Okay. So if you earn higher real per capita income, you belong to the richer decile, and at the same time, your non-income welfare index will be higher, and you are more likely to belong to the richer non-income welfare decile. So maybe let's correlate between real per capita income and index 2. Positive, more or less, not particularly strong, but at least clearly positive relationship. Okay. And we can move on to the next one. I want to analyze household red meat consumption. So I should only keep one observation per household. By the way, consumption on red meat indeed was asked. Apology. It was asked in the household questionnaire. Section E, when household expenditure, food expenditure was captured. Section E1, item number 7, red meat. And then there are few questions asked. We are going to focus on these two. Have you eaten any red meat in the last 30 days? And if yes, how much? Okay. So I think let's only keep one entry per household. In other words, only keep if tag equals 1. So this is what question 18 is all about. Tag. Keep if tag equals 1. Okay. So indeed, let me just sum. Indeed, 7 to 96. Observation left, so 1 per household. Okay. The next question, create a dummy consumption of meat which is equal to 1 if the household really reported that they consume red meat in the last. There's a typo error here, not 7 days but 30 days actually. I must look for the variable. Household questionnaire session E1 something 17. Can I really find it actually? 127 actually. 127. Yes, this one. Okay, so in other words, 4449 out of 7296 household, they admitted, yes, I consumed red meat in the last 30 days. So let's generate the dummy. Let me call it cons meat. And this is, I shouldn't type it actually, I can just click it. E127. So as long as this is equal to 1, then my cons meat dummy will be equal to 1. And let's tag this dummy. Yeah, 4449. And then in weighted terms, household weight in some way. Okay, this is equal to household weight. Okay, about in weighted terms, about 2/3 of the households consume red meat in the last 7 days. Question 20. Remember now we refer back to household level data. So I'm going to, from this question, find out the proportion of households that consume red meat in the past 7 days by household decile. Remember the household decile, decile 0 we created like long time ago earlier today using real per capita income. So in other words, I just want to do a cross tab actually. Tab decile 0 and then the dummy. I think this proportion would be high for the richer deciles who could afford purchasing and consuming red meat. Okay, the richest household decile, more than 90% consume red meat in the last month or last 30 days. But for the poorest decile, only slightly above 1/3 they consume red meat in the last 30 days. Okay, last one, but it will involve quite a lot of commands actually. We need to derive red meat consumption in 2016 December prices before deriving the mean real red meat consumption per decile. As expected, you will see this mean amount to increase across the decile. Okay, I think we first need to derive the red meat consumption. I think the variable is E137, the amount, but let's do a cross tab this one and the dummy, and then I'm going to explain there are really some issues with the way the data is captured. Okay, so yes, these are the people who claim they consume red meat in the last 30 days, but some of them did not really specify the answer. Okay, so the answer is I don't know. Then sales rule gave a code of -8, refuse, not applicable, missing, with some minus figure, but consumption could never be negative. So I'm going to replace these values as missing, actually, a missing dot. Okay. Okay, and then do you notice 33 people? 33 people, they actually didn't consume meat in the last 30 days. Somehow they are assigned some values on red meat consumption. I want to replace these as 0, actually. I'm just a perfectionist. I want the data to be clean, actually. Okay, let me generate a variable called meat consumption amount meat equal to this one. I rather prefer to create a new variable. Okay. And then this is the original variable, red meat consumption amount. Okay, so these two variables are exactly the same in terms of the values. Okay. And then I want to do some plastic surgery, okay, on this variable. This amount should be replaced as missing if in between -9 to -3, and they claim they really consume red meat in the last 30 days. But they really don't report the amounts, and I don't think it should be negative. So I rather want to change to missing. So replace amount meat equals missing if, sorry, I forgot to type if. If the amount is in between -9 and -3 and the cons meat dummy equals 1. So it means they did consume meat in the last 30 days, but they really don't declare the amount spent on red meat, and somehow sell-through gave a coding of -9, -8, -3. So I rather want to replace as missing because we really don't know how much they spend on red meat. So rather replace the value as missing. So when you look at the actual starter file, I actually put some notes and some explanation. By the way, if you put how to say this in English, okay, is it called stroke or something? Then it is more or less the same as the asterisk. Okay, then starter will realize this part is not a command, but rather some additional notes for yourself. Okay? And then the next one. If they really claim they did not consume meat in the last 30 days, then I should replace this consumption amount as 0. Okay, so the if restriction. Okay, again, you will see the explanation. The amount should be 0 if the meat consumption dummy equals 0. Okay, because it actually means they did not consume meat in the last 30 days, so this dummy equals 0. Therefore, the expenditure or the amount spent on red meat should rather be 0. Okay. Okay. And then now I need to generate real consumption on meat. 2016 December prices. So I will just do it 1 or 2. Remember, we have to use the monthly CPI. So the real consumption amount equals nominal amount divided by CPI in January times 100 if interval month is equal to January. So this one, right at the beginning of the data set. Okay, replace Real consumption. I will do it up to March, then we can run the do file. We have valid reasons to be lazy. Okay, the February CPI. If interview month is equal to February. This is the annoying thing when the interview took place across 12 months of the year and you want to derive the prices or whatever amount in constant prices, then you have to run the combine 12 times, one for each of the 12 months. Okay, let's do one more. Then we can run the do file. The March CPI 61.2 if interview month is March. Okay. So I stop for 10 seconds. Okay. Then I think we can run the other commands from April up to December and even the missing people with the missing month. So we can run the command from 161 to 170. So highlight these 10 lines of command, execute. Okay, then we can give a label R amount meat. It will be real meat consumption amount. Okay, then we can really derive the real meat consumption per household income decile or decile 0. So statistics, first option, third option, first option. Okay, we need to delete this one. Last variable, decile 0. Okay, mean still the same way. This time it would be more or less like household weight. Okay. Ooh, so in the richest decile, the household on average spend like about 400 Rand on red meat, more or less 400 Rand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, okay, there is one last command I want to explain to you. You can save the file size. You can just, I don't think I need to do file anymore. Just tap this command, compress. It helps you save the space. Okay, for the data set. We all want to save space. We only have limited storage space in our laptop or computer. And then I can now save it as my final needs 2008. Let's say you want to keep it as household level file. I actually save it in a hurry, okay? Because originally it is a person level merge file. Okay, I made an error. I should have saved it as a different name. I should have saved it as needs 2008 household level, something like that. Okay. So we learned a lesson. You learned a lesson from me. Don't rush to run the command. Okay. Okay. So there are still lots of empirical data analysis you could do with the needs data, especially maybe not for honors level, but when you do your master's economics, you need to analyze more than one wave of needs. Let's say you want to look at poverty dynamics across all 5 waves. Maybe you don't necessarily use all 5 waves, but maybe 2 waves or 3 waves, okay? Then you are really analyzing panel data, especially if you only want to include those who took part in all 5 waves, okay? Then we call this balanced panel, okay? Balanced panel component, but I don't want to scare you. I don't want to complicate the explanation. Strictly speaking, these are master's or PhD level empirical analysis. But as I mentioned on and off, in class and in some of the videos, in this country, we lack economists who can write well, present the results well, with good communication skills, verbal communication skills, or computer literacy skills. And especially we struggling to find people who can conduct very thorough empirical data analysis. Okay, so even if you are not using Stata for your research paper, maybe you want to specialize in time series analysis as macroeconomists, you mainly use e-views, but I think you should still know the basics of Stata. Then you have another impressive item on your CV. Imagine on your CV, you claim you have intermediate or advanced knowledge in Excel, e-view, Stata. It is a huge advantage in the labor market. Okay. So all the best.